My name is 𝗟H𝗴𝗂 Jr. together with my groupmates.
I am 𝗟ห์𝗴𝗂𝗴𝘂.
I'm 𝗟ះ𝗴𝗂𝗴𝗂.
I am 𝗟ห์𝗴𝗂𝗴𝗂.
And I am 𝗟ះ𝗴𝗂𝗴𝗂.
And these are the outlines of our report. Language variation definition, types of language variation, definition of language variable and its types, code switching in bilingualism, variation theory, and language learning. Language variation refers to the differences in the way people use language depending on where they live, who they are, and the situation they are in. It shows that no language is used the same way by everyone. Variation is normal and systematic according to Wadhwa and Fuller. And here are the types of language variation. First is the regional variation. Differences in pronunciation, vocabulary, or grammar caused by geographical location. For example, for Tagalog, saan ka pupunta? For Cebuano, asa ka pa inom? Second is the social variation, based on social class, age, gender, or ethnicity. For example, students often use tablets, while older adults prefer beer Filipino. Third is the style variation. It changes the speech according to formality or situation. For example, formal, good morning sir, how are you today? In informal, hey sir, what's up? Fourth is the register variation. Variation based on occupation, topic, or activity. Each field has its own special terms. For example, medical, diagnosis, prescription, or dosage. For school, we have the attendance, performance, and grade. Fifth is the temporal or time-based variation. Variation occurs over time as language changes. For example, use slang. Examples are lost, back, charot, but not used by older generations.
Hello. Now, let's move on to linguistic variants. But first, let's define what variants are. Variants is a different version of a word, sound, or structure that we use when we speak. They may look or sound different, but they still express the same meaning. With that in mind, a linguistic variable is when one meaning can be expressed in different ways. The pronunciation may change, the grammar may change, or even the words may change, but the meaning stays the same. It shows how people speak differently depending on their accent, style, or background. There are three types of linguistic variable. The first one is the phonological linguistic variable. The second one is the grammatical linguistic variable. And the third one is the lexical linguistic variable. And here's how they work. The first one is the phonological linguistic variable. This type deals with punctuation. The sound changes but the meaning stays the same. For example, singing becomes singing, and fishing becomes fishing. Here the variants are the full sound, and the short sound. We can hear that the ending changes, but the words still means the same thing. The second one is the grammatical linguistic variable. This type deals with sentence structure. The form changes, but the meaning stays the same. For example, he doesn't know can become he don't know. Both show that the person is not aware of the information. Another example is I saw him can become I see him. The meaning remains the same. The speaker is talking about something they witness. And the third one is the lexical linguistic variable. This type deals with word choice. Different words can be used to express different meaning. For example, grades can also be said as marks. Both refers to the results of a test. To simplify, linguistic variables are all about creation. Whether it's pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary, people express the same ideas in different ways. And that's what makes language unique.
Hello there! For our last topic, we are going to talk about code switching. Now, what do you mean by code switching? Code switching is the practice of alternating between two or more languages in a single conversation. For example, can you help me with my homework? Medyo mahirap kasi. That's an example of code switching. There are 3 types of code switching. Number 1 is intersentential, number 2 is intrasentential, and number 3 is tag switching. Let's go first to intersentential. Intersentential switching occurs between sentences. For example, I like your dress, ha? Ang ganda! Next is intrasentential. Switching happens within the same sentence. For example, let's go now before we're late. And lastly, we have tag switching. Tag switching means adding short phrases or tags from another language. For example, you know ba, he didn't come.
So let's move on to bilingualism. What is bilingualism? Bilingualism is an ability of an individual to use 2 languages with some degree and proficiency. There are 2 types of bilingualism, which are the individual bilingualism and societal bilingualism. Individual bilingualism is when a person can speak and understand 2 languages. For example, here in the Philippines, we can speak Filipino and English language. Societal bilingualism is when a community or a country use 2 languages. For example, here in our community, we use Bisaya and Filipino language.
Hi there! So let's talk about the variation theory and language learning. The language variation theory helps the students and teachers understand that learning a language isn't just about learning grammar or vocabulary. It's also about using the right verbs in the right situation. For example, when talking to a friend, you might say, "Uy, kamusta?" But in a formal setting, you will say, "Magandang umaga po," or "Good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir." This theory shows that students should be really exposed to different language varieties, like how Filipinos use both Tagalog and English or Taglish. For instance, saying, "Wait lang, I'll check." This forms is normal, and it shows how people really communicate in daily life. It also reminds the teachers that no way of speaking is wrong, whether someone speaks deep in Tagalog, English, or Taglish. It shows their identity and culture. What's important is knowing when or where each style fits. In conclusion, the language variation theory helps the learners become more confident and respectful communicators, able to adjust their language depending on people and situations they are in.